What is up? Welcome to Inawa. This is Prince, and today I want to talk about something. You know, it's been on my mind today. Stillness, stillness, and I'm talking about stillness, not in the way that you think of sitting still. I'm talking about spiritual stillness. Being still inside. Because I think most of the things that take us off our path and our purpose or goals as people is basically the fact that we can't be still. We want to do everything at one time. We want to do everything. We want to accomplish everything. We want to spread ourselves thin everywhere. And I don't think that's the way to go about things. Because if I look into my life in the past, wherever I would just channel my consciousness into one thing, and even if it had to take me an extended period of time for me to achieve whatever objective that was. But every time I've given myself the chance to just be still, and channel my energy into one place. Picture this way: you you make plans, you make New Year's resolutions, right? It's January now. Most of us, that's what we do, you know. that- That's what we do. And you set those New Year's resolution, and then you fail to accomplish, or you fail to make them real. They just end up as resolutions and nothing else. Maybe you make some progress towards that goal, but you quit along the way. And you might think that it's because you're lazy or what, but most of the time that's not true. Most of the time that's not true, because nowadays, I think most people, we want to look busy. We don't want to accomplish things. We want to look busy. It's not much it's not much more of, it's not much more of making progress, but it's sort of doing things to numb ourselves that at least I'm doing something, I'll get somewhere in life. We have this motto of hard work, this and that, I'll get this far in life. I mean, sometimes, all it takes for you to achieve that objective or New Year's resolution or whatever you set for yourself, whatever spiritual goal, is just for you to be able to be still inside, so that when you plan with this, with your head, there is no emotion or impulse inside of you that makes you want to go do something else. I mean, check this out. Let's say you are just you're just existing, you're not doing anything, man. It is so hard for any opportunity to be able to come your way. But the moment you pick on something and you want to do it, all of these things now start coming from the sides. You have to do this now. There's something that has to happen, and you have to do the other thing. And every time you allow yourself, to stray from whatever it is you have to do, that I think that sort of creates a gap in you, whereby you start to spread yourself thin, doing a lot of things, you know, one by one. And before you realize it, your primary or your first goals or resolutions, they no longer matter that much, because now you're doing something else and it's giving you that dopamine hit. Whereas you wouldn't get the same dopamine hit doing the same thing over and over, even when it gets harder and boring, because By doing so, I mean, like really, by doing so, you're actually making progress because you're moving in a one direction. It doesn't matter the speed, you're moving in one direction. Imagine you're going somewhere and you just go there. I mean, whether you walk or you run, you're going there. You're not doing anything else. Every waking hour you spend towards that thing, that objective. And in a way, that sort of gives you progress, and this spiritually comes to manifest as energy. Because okay, let's check this out. You plan, I want to go to the gym. You have to go to the gym. There is something that will come up and make you to not go to the gym. And if you allow it to take off your path, you don't remain still inside and unreactive to distractions and all these things. Now you start being taken bit by bit away from your main goal, your main purpose. And for me, that is something that can be, it, for me, it's something that can be stopped. It's something you can put a leash on yourself to be able to control how you allocate your energy. Because if you set resolution, you say for this year I want to do this, you have to show up every day, and that impulse won't help you, motivation won't help you do that every day. But if you keep on showing up and doing whatever you have to do, now you have consistency, and this gives you confidence that, imagine this, you do something, you're consistent, you gain skill, you gain experience, whatever it is. Even if it's meditation, you gain experience. You gain skill. Over time you start to master that thing. But if you're gonna move a chunk of time or energy away from there, you are not still, you are moving elsewhere, and your energy is no longer there. And if there's lots of these things, it becomes really hard for you to achieve anything. But if you just give yourself a few meaningful purposes or goals, you start to realize this. Because if you can find the time to do those things every day for the entire in your life, there is no way you're not going to make progress. But if you spread yourself too thin, you're going to end up not knowing what you want, what you like, what are you doing. And it's easy for you to not see results. Because I mean, if you're doing a lot of things, it becomes even harder to track yourself as to what you're doing. But you know when you start to become still and like really put effort into controlling your energy, and being aware if you're starting to veer away from your own path, I think that stillness, it will give you that consistency. Being aware every day will give you that consistency to actually do what needs to be done. It might be something as simple as every day, you know you want to learn how to control your emotions better. You have to practice that every day, man, especially when the time is difficult. You have to be more committed. That gives you confidence, and that confidence comes from your experience with that thing. And that confidence gives you a boost in energy spiritually, and that is what you need. Because now you're going to have more energy to accumulate to this thing. And wherever you're going to put energy, it needs to come out. It will come out back in the form of progress. And progress is slow, it's not fast. Especially if it's something that's authentic and is going to help your life in a really positive way. It's gonna take time. There are no shortcuts. And if you're not still, you find yourself to be those people who move from project to project. You can't stick anything out. You choose a certain path and you don't stick it out. I mean, it's fine if you do things that way and it works for you, but in my experience, it's always paid off to commit to a few objectives with with clarity. so that I'm able to give them most of my time, because I know that way I'll make progress. I mean, if you focus on less things, it's easier to get better at them, because there's nothing that's going to distract you. Most things are just distractions. And if you keep allowing yourself to be moved internally by your impulses to engage in things that won't benefit you or your current resolutions or goals, you lose your stillness. That's where you don't show up for the gym, you don't show up for your goals. And because you knew you set them and you're not showing up and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that starts eating at you from the inside, because you know you're lying to yourself. You know you don't respect yourself. You know you're not taking yourself seriously. But, you know, not but. And if that happens, you start to lose confidence in yourself, and that is visible because it takes energy from you. You start to shrink. I mean, picture someone who's confident and someone who's not. You can tell, you know. You can tell. You can't manufacture these things. You can tell, you know. The confident energy will be most likely contained and, you know, steady, because you know you can do this. You've been showing up. Now you said something and you don't show up, you don't get the experience to actually, you rob yourself of the experience of actually committing to one thing till fruition and seeing how it's going to end up, you know, how far you can go. I mean, at the end of the day, you cannot choose to be a, you you can't swim and run at the same time, you know. You can't. But if you could focus on swimming, you'd become a better swimmer over time. Okay, let me not put it that way, you know. You can't be in the kitchen and the toilet at the same time. Let me put it that way. You can't be in the kitchen and the toilet at the same time, because, you know, those things, they contradict each other. And if you're gonna set resolutions and things like that, you actually need things that are going to be at least parallel, you know, things that relate to each other in a way that these other goals you have, they circulate around this one plan, you know, they circulate around this one big goal, you know, and they'll help you get there. Then you can split your attention, because in the end it's all for one goal. But if you're setting too many goals, and I mean, where would you get the energy for that? And even if you do have the energy, I mean, it's much way harder to keep up with a lot of things than to keep up with few things. I mean, this is common sense. And losing the stillness spreads you thin. That is my main point of this video. Losing stillness internally, you lose your grounding and you become much more impulsive and emotional, and that moves you away from the structure you set for yourself in the beginning of the year. And you remember, mental energy should be followed by physical action. You know, you actually create something in here and use your physical energy and your body, your mental energy, to bring it to life, you know, because I mean, that's the only way I know anyone can manifest anything in this plane, in this realm we live in. That's the only way. If you want something, you're gonna have to work for it, and you get ideas, you get, you know, plans, you plan things, but then you don't follow up. I think that's the number one reason for, you know, a lack of success in most of us. We just can't keep up with doing one thing unless it's a job, because you actually have no choice and there's someone there who will be paying you up front. But, you know, for the things that actually matter for you, the ones that won't pay you immediately, most of us, we don't stick it out. We always want the shortcut, the easier way out, and it never helps, because it kills your own confidence. And now you have to start feeding off other people's energy. That makes you shrink, and the moment you do that, you can't grow spiritually. I mean, you're failing this body. How can you keep up with the spirit? They are the same thing. If you fail to take this body to do what you want it to do according to schedule, how are you going to manage your own spirit? Because it's much more harder for you to control the internal than the external. Most of us, we have that battle between our internal and external, and I don't see a way where you win that war without being hard on yourself physically in a certain way, whether it might be grounding yourself in a way that you don't have to be around people so you can focus, you know, or whether it's stopping to indulge in certain behaviors that will take a physical strain out of you, because it's actually hard. It takes mental and physical effort, and doing that, you are guaranteeing and showing yourself that you can be hard when needed. You are malleable, you're like water, you're fluid, all those things. And if you can prove that to yourself, the energy of you being able to do that will radiate to other people. It will show off even when you're with people. It will show off when you're with yourself, the way you talk with yourself, because you know what you can actually do and what you can deliver. And that's the main takeaway from me. Be consistent, be still with your purpose, with your plan, because otherwise, I mean, what are you doing? Why are you distracting yourself? I mean, it's not gonna help you. Imagine yourself, I'm pretty sure most of us we have this thing like, if only in school, or if only back then I just did this and focused, I'll be far. But even now, you get new things that you think are better, but still you can't stick them out because you train yourself to be distracted. And that's where spiritual stillness comes in. Having awareness of yourself, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're doing the entire time. You're awake. And that comes with, cutting off some things that take your energy and awareness and focus away from you. And the moment you do that, you gain stillness, and you'll be able to steer yourself, in that spiritual trajectory in this physical world. You'll be able to manifest things because now you're actually used to how things work. You actually take the time to give. You actually take the time from yourself to give to something and channel enough energy into it for it to come alive. I mean, you need to channel energy into anything if you want it to work. Enough energy for it to work. And if you keep doing that over time, I mean, you know yourself. There's that one thing you're good at, you used to do, and you got good at that thing by repetition. There's nothing else. I don't think there's that much sophistication in most things in the world, or they're not as complicated as they seem. I know even some guys who do crazy math and stuff. You have the power to, man. Whatever you decide today, if you can do it every day and be consistent, you have a human brain. You're not an animal, you have a human brain. If you actually become consistent with your work ethic towards whatever goal, you can actually reach it. It is possible in that term, because I mean, consistency man, it beats everything. It takes discipline to create that, and you having enough discipline, it it shows off in the things you do, in the way you treat yourself. It will radiate, and your spirit knows when you kill it or when you raise it, so you can't really fool yourself. So that is really my takeaway on this. Like, remove distractions for stillness, and stillness will give you progress. Try to do that, man. If you have an opinion, please leave it in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to help me keep going and being consistent, because I mean, it's really hard to be consistent when you don't have an audience. But yeah, if you do like my content, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. This is Prince. Welcome to Innerwear. and this is goodbye. See you in the next video. I hope you and I learn to keep our stillness. But you know, that's the way, you know, maintain your spirits. See you in the next video.